From the Mumbai studios of Republic TV, it's time for The Debate.
Debate at 9, presented by Amity University, powered by RP Sanjeev Goenka Group, Serra, Century Ply, and TVS Euro Grip.
Hello, welcome. You're watching The Debate with me, Shravan Sen, and my colleague Niranjan. We are filling in for Arnab Goswami, who would be joining us on The Debate in a short while from now.
We have 3 debates lined up, and Arnab will be joining us any time now. Let's look at the 3 debates we have on the show tonight. Debate number 1, in a bizarre move, the US Secretary of State had meetings in India. Even before meeting the minister, he met civil society groups to raise CAA, NRC, Pegasus, and more. Who's the US to interfere in our internal affairs? Debate number 1. And debate number 2, 24 hours after Republic beam versions of victims, 2 more have been arrested in the pawn racket case in Kolkata. How can there be any sympathy for sexual exploitation? Debate number 2. And debate number 3 tonight, Imran Khan making it official to Pakistan. The Taliban is a group of normal civilians. Can Pakistan distance itself from terror anymore? That's debate number 3. Here are the headlines.
The US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken tries to meddle in Indian affairs. Certain members of the lobby seeks US intervention in our affairs.
Big impact after expose by Republic Bangla in the Kundra pawn racket. 2 accused have been arrested by the police in Kolkata.
Absurd, absurd, absurd. Imran Khan has now dropped all pretense, declares that Taliban are normal civilians.
India calling out sham and illegal elections in the Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Pakistan warned by India to vacate our territory.
Ladies and gentlemen, in a bizarre and controversial series of developments that have taken place, the US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken has tried to meddle in India's affairs. And if you see it, there is a pattern that has essentially emerged. US has been continually trying to nudge India in one way or the other, right from the abrogation of Article 370 to the toolkit plot and also to the farmers and CAA.
Well, the difference today, Shravan, is that the attempt to interfere in our internal affairs is coming from the official US government. And on behalf of all of India, barring the one lobby that is perpetually in awe and civility to the US government, we say to Washington, mind your own business. We don't need sermons, approvals, or intervention. Here's the story, and then we debate. Arnab is also joining us. US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken tried to subtly make a point on India's domestic affairs, or at least what seemed like the US spin to it at the press conference on Wednesday.
We talk about, in our founding document, the search for a more perfect union. That, by definition, means that we're not perfect. And sometimes we're at moments when the challenge is painful. It can even be ugly. And ultimately, I think we have in our democracies self-righting mechanisms that are made up of free citizens of different backgrounds, different faiths, a free media, our democracies. And I think, humbly, we can learn from each other because no democracy, regardless of how large or how old, has it all figured out.
What is now controversially emerging is that the US Secretary of State had a discussion with civil society members on India's internal affairs. One participant said that from farmers' protest to CAA, from freedom of the press to minority rights, the US Secretary of State discussed each of them. What does America have to do with India's domestic affairs? Who is America to preach on India's domestic affairs? The people of India are rightly so furious, and some leaders are taking a position on it.
If Indian representatives in US goes to blacks and talks to them, their custodial death, police coercion on ethnic basis, that is undesirable elements which are happening in US. And religious coercion also, minorities are being harassed. But India does not intervene. Therefore, India also expects all other countries to maintain the diplomatic cordial relationship and not to intervene in domestic affairs.
With over 1,000 shooting incidents this month alone, with among the highest incidents of systemic racism, with the harshest punishments against anti-national activity, India doesn't need a lesson from Washington.
What do you want? I think we are.
New India neither needs sermons from the US nor needs Washington's approval and counseling on our matters. Right from the fake hype on Article 370 to the toolkit plot to the US media lobbies desperately rallying against Indian interests, the signs to desperately meddle into Indian affairs have been glaring and clear. Today, as it comes from the official American government, the question is, why is a lobby in India so enthusiastically cheering it on? Are they in denial about America's intent, or are they in cahoots with them for it? Let's debate. And Arnab is joining us on the debate. We told you he's live, he's on the move, but he's joining us live on the show. Arnab, good evening.
Hi. Sorry, I'm stuck in really bad traffic. It's unimaginable, and therefore, but I just couldn't resist Niranjan and Shravan coming on the show tonight. So thank you for holding it to me, and maybe you can introduce all our guests and I'll come in as a panelist, which anyway has been my lifelong ambition.
That is a new one, Arnab.
That's a first.
You won't be allowed to speak.
That's a first. Okay, Arnab, so we'll just introduce the panelists.
To speak by your critics.
Yeah. I'll just introduce the panelists and we'll take it and then we'll hand over. Okay, Gaurav Bhatia is joining us, national spokesperson of the BJP, senior advocate, Supreme Court. Mohandas Pai, chairman, Aaron Capital partner. Ratan Sharda, political analyst and author. Saurabh Shukla, editor-in-chief, News Mobile. Sandeep Ghosh, author, political commentator. Royden Roach, political analyst. Mohammad Tausif Rahman, political analyst. Syed Aslam, political analyst. Pankaj Sharma, senior journalist and former media advisor to the Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, Kamal Nath, former Chief Minister Kamal Nath. Arnab, let me put the first question to you, since you're a panelist on the show. Now, when we saw the news come in yesterday, right, last evening, we were told that this meeting happened even before the US Secretary of State met the minister. Now, what came to your mind and why do you think this is meddling?
Well, before I get into the meddling aspect, America, the country with the highest number of hate crimes in the world today in a decade. And Antony Blinken is a fine one to come and ask, what can we do? I mean, you have to realize it is the most divided and racist society on planet Earth. People shoot at each other on the slightest whim. And I think there are two questions which come here to open the debate. Who are these Indians who go crying to Antony Blinken? Question number two, Saurabh, who the hell is Antony Blinken anyway? I mean, there are issues on both sides tonight. I don't know which one to start with. But the fact there is a country where wearing a mask has become the most divisive issue, Mohandas Pai. Where there is violence over whether people should wear masks or not. Where African Americans are killed every day. Where entire religious communities are ghettoized. A country with the worst human rights record against its own minority citizens. At that country, when we go crying to them, I feel bad for both sides. Both the Mohandas Pai, who should we feel more angry about, Anthony Blinken or people here who went crying?
Well, Arnab, my view is, the people in this country were going to them because, they obviously lack self-respect. And I was so shocked. Many of them on Twitter said that when President Biden became the president, they were very happy because he said, unlike President Trump, President Biden is going to turn the screws on Prime Minister Modi. And they were rejoicing. Many of them are funded by American think tanks or money from outside. They get the money from outside. They have to reflect the views of the masters overseas. And they play this game.
No,
Arnab,
even I would like to question you, Arnab, today. I would like to question you. What does the Prime Minister do when he goes abroad? Doesn't the Prime... No, I would like to ask, doesn't the Prime Minister himself go and cause any commotion in other countries? Do other presidents come and do it? No, they don't come and do it here. They don't come and do it.
Let him finish.
When something
let him finish.
Let him finish. No, I cannot be quiet on this. No, we cannot be quiet on this.
You can shout later, my friend.
You come up with something and you don't want us to respond to it?
I can respond to it later, my friend.
Let Mohandas make his...
Arnab, we
need to speak about it. We need to talk about it.
Please keep quiet. Please keep quiet. Arnab, when our leaders go to the US, we must meet the civil society types. And
you don't tell me to keep quiet, okay? I have all the right in the panel to speak as much as you have.
About the killing of the blacks in America.
So, Mr. Pai, I think you have to learn manners.
Hate crime against minorities. We must talk to them the same way. 2, we must have our nationalistic think tanks tie up with their think tanks to work out and clear the narrative. 3, we must have our own media which points out the fault lines in America and educates our people about the way that America is being run. America is no doubt a great country. It has done extremely well in many areas, but there are very deep fault lines. It is not American exceptionalism at play. It's not a perfect society. Like you said, Arnab, it's a deeply divided society. So we have to grow our media. We have to grow up, and we must do the same thing they do to us. But we must understand there are domestic lobbies in the United States which go to the political leaders and say, when you go to India, please talk about all this. And they have to cater to them because their funding and anything else depend on this. And even in the UK, remember,
Sorry. Nobody is funded. Do you have evidence? Do you have evidence to say that they are funded? No, do you have the evidence? Please don't bring up your own stories and cook it over here on the channel. We are not interested in what you say. We are not at all interested in what you say. We are saying there are everywhere, every country. When our Prime Minister goes abroad, he does the same thing. It's more commotion. No, when he goes there, he creates more commotion also.
Royden, 1 minute. Royden, 1 minute.
You think the
1 minute. Let me open up the question. My first question today: who the hell are the Americans to be a counselor on Indian affairs? They've broken established diplomatic protocol, and it's a very serious issue. Very, very serious issue. Gaurav Bhatia, there is a lobby within this country that wants every domestic and internal issue to defame India. This circuit is at it again. Some of them were part of the civil society.
Mr. Goswami, let me tell you,
can I make my point,
no one in the world is going to sit and watch what's happening in other country.
Please allow me to make my point. Is there any other Gaurav?
No, 1 minute, please. 1 minute. 1 minute. Gaurav, before you come in, I want to just tell you that you need to realize this is a very major breach of diplomatic protocol. We are at test here. Do we as a country have the ability to put these Americans in their place? Why has the Ministry of External Affairs not issued a formal condemnation of the activities of Anthony Blinken? Why has the government of India, and this is it, Gaurav, why has the government of India not said that Anthony Blinken broke all diplomatic norms?
Because they do the same thing when they go there.
I am asking you, 1 minute. First of all, let me get Gaurav Bhatia and the whole panel on air because for God's sake, Mr. Roach, you know what, please. The question is here, Gaurav, please come into the debate and you're on the debate with Tausif. Yes. Why are you being so accepting of it? Why are you being so docile about it? Why don't you tell the Americans?
I want to know why
Can I
Arnab
now
Goswami is
formulate my
becoming so
point,
touchy
please?
today.
Okay.
You know,
so
this
Arnab,
is
first
what
of all,
happens when you interfere in someone else's matter.
Arnab, you will have to request him to be quiet till I've made my point. Then he can come and he can
गौरव जी आज
make
कैसे
his
लग
point.
रहा है
too.
आपको? अमेरिका आके भारत को बेइज्जत करके चला गया. How do you feel today? Are you feeling insulted finally? Are you feeling insulted finally? The central government has been insulted by Americans, which you
Arnab,
people allowed
I
them.
think he needs to be
You people
regulated.
allowed
Okay,
them.
Tausif, if you are done.
Americans insulted us
मैं
on
बताता
some.
हूँ.
Tausif, let him speak.
No, it's
Arnab
not
asked the
about
question
that.
to Gaurav.
I'm feeling, it's very funny.
No, but just let him speak.
Suniye.
No, you can have a decent debate. Yeah.
Yes.
Tausif, I heard
Okay.
you. Tausif, I heard you. Thank you, Niranjan. I heard
Yes.
you. Gaurav, just 1 minute. Just before you
Arnab,
come
can
in,
I
I'll give
make
you full
my
time.
point?
No, of course you'll make your point. But I want to just say one thing. And today, you see, I'm on the move. I'm on the move. So I have all
Please
the
go
sympathy
ahead.
of the entire. Though
You're
I must
always
say,
on the
Gaurav,
move,
I'm moving
Arnab.
towards the studio.
You move
such a
faster than light.
demeaning day
It's
for
impossible
India.
to catch you.
Gaurav, let me tell you, I'm in your city and Latins has terrible traffic situations right now. By the way, Gaurav, question is, if suppose Jaishankar goes to Washington and Jaishankar calls a meeting and Jaishankar meets American civil society and Jaishankar says, I'm very concerned about the situation in America where between 17th and 23rd July there were 1,018 shooting incidents. Innocent Americans are being killed. We are greatly concerned as the world's largest democracy. We are concerned about the state of affairs in America. Let me tell you, the Americans will immediately act.
Creating another story.
Okay, so Gaurav,
Now let me.
why are you
Yes, let me
protesting
respond.
stronger?
This is
Okay.
all.
Let's
This
get
is all
Gaurav now,
done by
respond.
this central government.
Now,
This
let's
is all
get
done
Gaurav
by
now. No,
BJP and
9:22, he's
outside
opening
Is
his
this
mouth.
a way
India,
to debate?
insulting
Mr.
us,
Tausif comes and he
interfering
butts
let
in.
him,
our
let
matter.
him.
He doesn't have any, self-respect, I believe. When I've been requesting him, allow me to make my
Gaurav,
opening comment
please,
and then you can come
today
in.
You want to give some safa.
This is not acceptable.
not going- you
to
should-
me,
you should
this is
Gaurav,
not
I can't
acceptable.
respond
The
to now,
viewers
viewers.
on your
friend,
program.
Americans.
Gaurav Bhatia, come on.
Americans and BJP are best
Tausif,
friends.
come on now. Let Gaurav Bhatia
American
continue the
and
debate,
BJP are
please.
best friend. Modi and Trump
Tausif,
was
please.
best friend.
Tausif,
chup
please
kar,
let
chup.
Gaurav debate. We are going
No,
to
no,
everyone.
this is what. How dare
Okay.
Modi's friend.
We're going to
I
everyone.
would
Trump
request
and
you,
Modi were best
Nilanjan,
friend. You
to
did
please
Trump
control
namaste.
this
Gaurav
chat.
Bhatia was very
I don't think
confident.
he is
Now,
under
thank you,
control.
Tausif. Gaurav is opening the debate in 9:23 p.m. We are losing time.
Before the peak lockdown.
We are losing time. Gaurav, continue. Thank you, Tausif.
Yes.
Yeah, Gaurav.
Arnab, first
Thank
of
you.
all, let me respond to Tausif and the sinister design that they have against the country. He said, आपकी बेइज्जती हुई. ऐसा लग रहा था कि पाकिस्तान में रहते हैं तौसीफ. और मैं ये भी बता दूं, भारत की बेइज्जती कोई कर नहीं सकता है. पूरे विश्व में इज्जत है. मोदी जी लीड कर रहे हैं. But let me come to the topic of today's debate. Please चुप करें.
हम नहीं पीते थे.
Arnab, I will be quiet because I am here
No,
for a
Tausif, now come on.
We never begged
Tausif, now even viewers are complaining. Thank you, Tausif. Please.
Look at the topic.
Please, Tausif, now. No, don't heckle this at this point.
Right?
Don't heckle at this point. Tausif, don't heckle. Gaurav is speaking. We changed the windows. Thank you very much.
Where is Pegasus coming from? Where is CA coming from? Americans are talking about human rights.
You know how foolish he is sounding, he doesn't even know. His family members will tell him after the debate is over.
No,
but Arnab, let me make my...
It's okay.
Please.
Human integrity.
Okay, let me make my
internal
point.
security,
Tell him to be civilized,
CAA,
please. Arnab, otherwise I'll be quiet. I'm not here for a debate where I'm heckled because they're afraid that I'll make my points
You have nothing to say today. You have nothing to say today, Gaurav Bhatia. You better keep quiet today.
Arnab, I'm sorry. It's your wish. I will not...
Gaurav should be allowed to complete his point. Otherwise, we'll be stuck on one point. Please, Gaurav.
You don't have the content to speak today.
Okay.
Gaurav, you don't have the content to speak today.
Well, he hasn't even started. Let him speak at least.
Out of
Thank you. Gaurav, continue.
Give it to them in their style. Who are you, mister? Who are you? Tell me. What do you mean? You people interrupt all the time without any points? Do you even know the Constitution talks about sovereignty? What is sovereignty? No external power will interfere. But the so-called civil society will jump in to complain about our internal problems. And they don't have faith in the judiciary of the country. It is so sad. If I'm
Do you
trying
know-
to make
no, no,
a point,
I know,
at
Mr.
least
Bhatia, I would
extend
like
the
to ask
courtesy
you,
to us.
do you know what they spoke
No, you
about?
cannot ask
Do you
right
know
now.
what they
Just
spoke
be
about?
quiet.
Mr.
Till
Bhatia,
I
do you
make
know
my
what
point,
did they
you
speak
have no
about?
right to butt
No,
in.
you don't scream
You
on
have
the
no
television
right
and
to
tell us
butt in.
what we
Be
spoke
quiet now.
today.
Enough.
Did you hear?
Enough
Do you
is
know what
enough.
was spoken?
Be quiet.
You
No.
don't know what
I
was
will not
spoken.
hear to you.
You don't know.
I
Enough
will
is
not
enough,
hear
it's
you.
all. We have
I
taken
will not
nonsense
hear
from you
you.
too much.
You people,
We have taken too much nonsense
you
from you.
people are a bunch
Sit on
of
the
fools.
panel and
You
teach us
come
to
on
talk
debates
as
to
and
heckle
what
us.
each and every
You
one.
don't want a meaningful debate.
You all are a
And
bunch
Arnab,
of
let me
jokers,
make my
let me tell
points
you.
now.
You all are a bunch of jokers.
First
You're
of all,
worse than
I
comedians.
want to make
They'll
a
go to
point
the
that
US
under the
and
leadership
do
of
something
Narendra
different
Modi
day,
ji,
but later
our
when you come here,
democracy
you change your
is
strategy.
truly sovereign
You cannot
and we
even
are
talk about
strong
it
enough
tomorrow.
not to buckle under any pressure from any country. Why are you only talk about the US? Be it the US or XYZ or any country. We can give them a befitting reply. And I will give you an example. You remember Article 370 being amended? These very countries tried to create pressure in the United Nations. We stuck to our ground. And what happened? The world was with us. And that is the might of our leadership. But today, when you asked a question which was very pertinent, who's to be blamed? I think it is the Fufi gang that is to be blamed. As I pointed out earlier also, these people only can complain. They can talk about human rights violation when there are none. And if there is a human right violation, then please go to the court. Free and fair election, the hallmark of our democracy. Have there been any bigger and better conducted elections than India? So we are proud of it. What about the judiciary? Judiciary is independent. They work on their own. I will ask the US representative, anybody who's defending, did India interfere or meddle in their affairs when they placed their forces in Afghanistan and then decided to withdraw? Nobody did, because it was their own matter. Same way, India will do what is in the interest of the country, be it Article 370, be it CAA, and not just the US. No country has the right to interfere in our business. Second, you asked me about, why is it that India is not protesting? Let me tell you, our democracy, Arnab, is not so frail that somebody visits India, he has a meeting with certain people with no credibility.
On that point,
Very good.
I am not protesting. One second, Gaurav. On that, I want to intervene.
Okay.
1 minute, Gaurav. Gaurav, on that, I'm coming in with a counter.
You have to wait.
I'm coming in with a counter, Gaurav. So allow me the counter. Allow me the counter. Allow me the counter, please, Gaurav. 1 second, Gaurav. 1 second. One second.
Not even half
No, 1 second. No. I'm coming in. 1 second.
Please,
I beg you.
Tosi, you keep quiet and I'm coming in with Gaurav right now. Gaurav,
Ultimately the statement
Arnab,
of
please allow me.
the Secretary of the State matters. And that was a tight slap to the so-called
Okay, thank you, Gaurav. Now,
because
Gaurav,
he said that India
Gaurav,
is a
now
vibrant
listen to
democracy.
me, yeah? Gaurav, listen to me. Gaurav, listen to me. Thank you. Thank you. And you
go please. Pakistan में आपकी insult नहीं इज्जत मिलेगी जाइए.
Okay, Pankaj.
अरे चलिए आप हटिए
1 minute,
आप कहाँ से आ
please.
जाते हैं?
No, 1 second. 1 second.
छोड़ दीजिए आज आपके पास बोलने
Okay, I'll mention. I'll mention everyone by name. I'll mention everyone by name out here. Please. I want Pankaj, who's not yet spoken on the debate. I want our. I want Saurabh Shukla to come in. I want Mohandas Pai back on the debate. Just a minute, yeah. I want those who haven't spoken to come into the debate. You see, Saurabh.
Can I, Arnab?
And on a lighter note, Saurabh. On a lighter note, Saurabh. If I shout any more while being in a traffic jam, then I think, I'll create a law and order situation while being on the road. There is enough unwanted attention that a person shouting like mad in the car is getting while on the move. And I don't want to make a further spectacle of myself. So for God's sake, be a little kind to me. Otherwise, the traffic police commissioner of Delhi is going to hold me up. Gaurav says that
you should think that you are in the car always.
Gaurav says our democracy is strong enough and resilient enough. You have been a very long-standing diplomatic editor. The question is not about our democracy, Saurabh. It is about the precedent that we are unwittingly setting. Because you know, if you're talking about CAA, NRC, and issues such as Pegasus, while being on Indian soil, even if you had a commentary on it, you have exceeded your brief. By this logic, you know,
Arnab,
we should be. I think our
should be talking about the George Floyd episode. And we should openly be interfering in American affairs. There are 1,068 police killings in which black people were 3 times likely to be targeted.
blacks are likely to be killed in America today. We should be raising those issues.
I want to tell you, I was there, Arnab, I can tell you, I was there, I covered the visit, and I'll tell you what happened when Mr. Blinken and Mr. S. Jaishankar met. Mr. Jaishankar clearly told him when this issue came up that India is a robust democracy. Every democracy has its challenges. There was no time. If you see, both countries are mature democracies. They agreed to disagree on something.
No,
Whoever may go
could Blinken
to
raise
US
the issue?
or anywhere else,
Sorry, no, 1
India
second,
will
1 minute.
continue to
How could a foreign minister raise the issue?
Mr. Blinken also met the Tibetan leader. So Arnab, you are not. I want to disagree on certain points here, Arnab, today, because he also met the Tibetan leaders, which goes on. And this meeting, every meeting was conducted because it was well known to the Indian leadership.
1 minute, Saurabh, I want to further disagree with you.
Partners,
If I may further disagree with you, Saurabh, I go to Pankaj on this. I further disagree with you. My point is about, we say.
I think I disagree.
No, Saurabh, 1 minute. Saurabh,
as mature democracies, we agree to disagree on certain things.
No, Saurabh, listen to me. Can you hear me?
He met the
Can you hear me and see me? I don't know.
And nobody can dictate terms to a new India. Nobody can dictate terms to a new government.
Yeah, you are right. You are right. Washington has
No. Can you hear me and see me? Am I still?
No business to meddle.
He's met the Tibetan leaders as well.
Can you hear me?
No.
Pankaj, can you hear me?
It's a strong country. It's a robust democracy.
Pankaj, my question is, and I want to ask the viewers, that let us look at it differently. We are equals. If we are equals, there has to be the concept of mutual respect. Now, Pankaj, you know, and I want to get Ratan Sharda in because he's not coming to the debate so far. America treats immigrants the worst. The worst. I would like to see Ratan Sharda, one Rohingya enter America. They keep talking about immigrants, CAA, NRC, and all kinds of other things. They treat their immigrants the worst. They separate the children from the parents. They put the children and the parents who are immigrants in the most inhuman of conditions. They treat them like animals. Blacks are killed on a daily basis.
I'll just give one
But we still respect it. We say it is your internal affair. What gives them the right?
I agree. I agree that Washington has no business to interfere in our internal affairs.
And what happened in Beijing?
Can I ask you, what were we doing when we were raising the slogans of Abki Baat Sarkar? Did we not? That was not the breach of all established diplomatic norms and diplomatic protocols.
Ratan Sharda, let Pankaj complete and then you come in.
Is it not true that inter-religious relations are becoming more and more complicated, especially, for last 7-8 years? Is it not true that media freedom is a serious cause of concern? Who says that everything is fine on farmers' protest front? Are we not witnessing an atmosphere of deep unease on the issue of love jihad and minority rights? So these are the issues. At the same time, America has no business to interfere in our internal affairs. But what about the issues? These are the issues. And why should we shy to accept that, yes, these issues are there? The areas of human dignity, equality of opportunities, the rule of law, and fundamental freedoms, all are passing through such a distress for last so many years.
So no.
So these are also the issues.
No. Pankaj, let Ratan Sharda respond.
Can I come in now?
Yes. Yes, comment.
My simple
Please.
first statement is that Mr. Blinken came from China. He tried to make some funny ideas. He was shown the door. He was told to take a walk. He was told, given a list of two list of demands, that if you agree with this, you carry on the business with China, otherwise don't. And then he comes to India to lecture us. He talks of now Mr. Pankaj talks about human rights, this and blah blah blah. All these cases have in the courts. Nobody has stopped them. You come on TV every day, shout at Modi, you abuse Modi, you bash the government, you take side of China, you take side of Pakistan. Nobody has any case against you. And if you think Naxals should be given sympathy, if you think you can go to the court, open it in the midnight on the holidays for bail for Naxals, for terrorists, then what kind of freedom will you want? I don't understand. CA people sit on the door, on the roads, they stop every activity in the industry. You have farmers sitting on the roads for months together. You say they are human rights. What is the definition of human rights? Is it human rights is only for the left and the illiberals? Do other citizens have no rights at all? And for that you'll go to Uncle Sam. And let me begin from the beginning. 2013, one Mr. John Dayal went to USA telling that Modi should not be given visa, though he had not even applied. So you have continuous application to Uncle Sam because you have no faith in India, you have no faith in Indian judiciary, you have no faith in elections because you are unelectable.
But there is
you
a
are
flip side.
But
there is a flip side.
Go to China and USA
Ratan Sharda
to
ji, you need to understand. Ratan Sharda ji, you need to understand. India is a superpower today. India is a superpower today. We are the biggest democracy of the world. It's absolutely shameful when the BJP government comes and sounds. The BJP government comes and says, like, why are they sounding helpless? Why are they sounding helpless? The Secretary, US Secretary of State, has a meeting.
I'd like to go to Sandeep Ghosh, please.
And you say that
I'd like to go to Sandeep Ghosh, please. Just a minute.
First you respond to that.
Just a minute. Sandeep Ghosh is also on. He hasn't spoken.
You are incapable of.
I want to just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. To put things in perspective. To put things in perspective. To put things in some perspective.
You will curb the dissent.
Thank you. I'd like Sandeep Ghosh and Mohandas Pai to come in. I like Sandeep Ghosh and Mohandas Pai to come in. And Sandeep and Mohandas Pai just want to share. They want America to dismiss farm laws. I want to know, do these worthies even know that America is the strongest votary of corporate farming? This lobby is going to whom? To Uncle Sam for advice on farm laws. America, ladies and gentlemen, is the biggest supporter of corporate farming, right? I just don't understand. Mohan, it's ridiculous.
You must ask them where they get their money. Arnab, it is all question of money. Money talks. Who is funding many of those NGOs in this country? Money is coming from outside.
Keeping those aside, as Arnab is saying, it is ridiculous. They're going to someone where, who are themselves proponents of these policies. But I think, Arnab, what we are saying, first point is first, that why do these people, our own people, need to, as you said, go and crib to Uncle Sam? It's not as if they're not getting enough chance to crib inside, or they're not getting enough, whether it's talk time on media or press coverage. Agitate the issues here democratically. Instead of that, you boycott Parliament, run out to the street, drive tractor, to Parliament and all those kind of nautanki. Have a proper discussion here. And, they must also understand, like, as you said, one part is what America follows. America follows only its own interests. So if the farm laws don't suit them in going forward, they're going to drop these people like a hot brick. And just like, before 2014, all these people lobbied. And the day Mr. Modi got elected, Obama said he is most welcome to come to India any day. And that they must understand. Having said that, there are 2 points I'd like to make, Arnab. One is that there is definitely a question of propriety as to why should Blinken meet these people. I think that is itself a wrong signaling. And though Mr. Jaishankar has made in some diplomatics, he has conveyed some displeasure or some differences, he ought to have been, as you are saying, probably more emphatic. We don't know what has happened behind the scenes. America tried to calibrate it well by the kind of people whom they called. And, just on the aside, one thing, one of the persons who attended there was a Ramakrishna Mission monk, and his pet name is Jai Shankar Maharaj. So you had Jai Shankar by proxy in that meeting, if you would say so. So they had people like them.
But Gaurav, I get that. But Gaurav, there is another more serious issue. Gaurav, have we put ourselves too much in the American corner? You see, Gaurav, this is a serious point. Yeah. We are very strongly anti-China. We should be. But at the same time, my sense is, and my own personal view is, we have become too dependent on America. America is pushing us around. Americans are claiming that they have influence. The Pakistanis are sort of indicating of late that the Americans have put pressure on us to even open a dialogue with Pakistan because America is, exiting Afghanistan. It wants a status quo, and therefore it has a little bit of dependency on Pakistan. And Blinken is not here to help us. Blinken is here to negotiate. The democratic establishment in America is never going to be on our side. And I think that we went too close to America during the last few months or last 1 year of the Trump presidency, to the extent to which we have increased our strategic dependence on it. And now these Americans are showing their real colors. Otherwise, how does he have the temerity, you tell me, Gaurav?
Can I respond, please?
How does he have the temerity to do this?
Let me respond. Arnab, we would not yield even an iota of our sovereignty. And let me say this very categorically, under the leadership of Narendra Modi ji, led by an able foreign minister S. Jai Shankar ji, we have engaged with the US from a position of strength. And do you know, when we allowed them to even engage with members of the so-called civil society, it was actually a tight slap on the face of these very people who tried to say, like Rahul Gandhi, that democracy is dead in India.
The only question
Can I complete my point? Can't you wait? Sir, can't you wait? Can't you wait? I'm asking you. Can't you? No. Okay. Sir, can't you wait? Is this mannerism? Yeah. I'm asking you. You take my time.
Yes,
you don't even listen to us. You just want to oppose. Please, thank you. So, Arnab, when we allowed these people to engage with the US Blinken, Mr. Blinken, it was clear that we believe in democracy. And when he came out,
why did you have to allow? Are you saying you gave approval for this? No, 1 minute. This is then becoming bigger. You're saying 1 minute, Syed, 1 minute. Gaurav,
30 seconds.
Are you telling me that the Ministry of External Affairs allowed a bunch of unelectables, to engage with a visiting Secretary of State who basically effectively holds a foreign ministry portfolio?
Okay.
That we allowed it?
No,
I'm sorry. I'm very upset. No, 1 minute.
Can I respond?
No, 1 minute. Why did we allow it? I'm sorry, Gaurav.
You're
going to have to explain this. Why did we allow?
I'm not explaining. I'm making my point.
Why? Why did we allow them? Why did we allow them?
Can I please respond?
To interfere in our internal affairs? Why didn't we tell the Americans, do your diplomatic business and get lost, go home? Why did we allow them?
So now let me respond. Whenever any foreign dignitary would visit our country and he has his own, schedule, he meets certain people. As a strong, vibrant democracy, why would we not, allow that dignitary to engage?
No, but why would we allow? Why would we not ask? Why do you want to meet? Sorry, no, 1 minute.
Gauravji, the question
no, Arnab, this is, it's unfair.
No, Gaurav, I just want to speak to Gaurav right now. Syed, don't disturb. Gaurav, I'm asking you. We could have. Yes. Please don't disturb me. Gaurav, listen here. Please, can you be calm for a while? It's a serious point. Gaurav, we could have. Syed, will you not? Syed, can I follow?
When the US Secretary of State
Arnab, I would just like to complete my point. If I am not interrupted, maybe you will understand. I request you, let me make my point. Please ask him to be quiet.
No.
You asked me something,
serious.
so let me. Yes.
No.
So Arnab, I was saying.
No. The
ultimately
issue is
what
serious.
matters
The issue is serious.
Please just.
The issue is
listen to
Gaurav.
me first.
Can I tell you once again? You could have politely told the Americans, Mr. Blinken, you hold the effective foreign ministry portfolio of America. You have no business meeting these people. What is the agenda of your meeting? He would have said,
Okay,
I want
can
to
I now
interfere in
respond?
your internal affairs. You would say
Can
there is
I
no need
respond?
to. You meet, you
Can
come
I
here
respond?
to South Block, have your meetings and go.
Arnab,
You're saying we allowed
had
them?
to allow me to
Why did we allow them?
counter your point. Yes, I'm countering your point with some logic. Hear me out. Now, just because the fact that he meets certain members of the so-called civil society does not
So-called
take away
civil
from
society?
the strength of our democracy.
What is this so-called
Ultimately,
civil society?
please,
Ramkrishna
sir, be
Mission
courteous.
representative was there.
If you will behave like a hooligan, I
representative
know
of
how to
Sikh
retaliate like that.
organization NGO was
Please be
there.
quiet. Who are you, sir? Who are you?
Christian NGO
Who are you? Why are you
representative was
speaking in
there.
between? Be quiet.
And
First
Mr.
listen to me,
Gaurav
then
Bhatia,
respond.
do you know who this
You people
Interfaith
are
Foundation
so-called
founder?
civil
Who
society
is this
members with no
Interfaith
civility
Foundation
left.
founder Khwaja
Arnab,
Iftikhar
the only
Ahmed?
one thing that
Do you
matters is
do
the
you know?
statement
Do
that
you
was
know?
made
Do
by
you
the
know who
Secretary of the
released
State
Mr.
was
Ahmed's book
India
the other
is
day?
one of the most valued
Mohan
partner of the
Bhagwat ji
US.
released
And
Iftikhar
let me
Ahmed's
also tell you
book the other
that
day.
even when
And you are
Article
saying
370
so-called civil
was
society
abrogated,
members,
there was a delegation of
bunch of
European senators that
unacceptable
came.
people.
And they visited Kashmir. We were fine with it because we have nothing to hide. Our democracy is strong. The value system of this government is actually enriching and making the constitution of the country strong. These people
You have
are
no
like
guts to
Rondu
tell
Fufis.
Americans that please
They are
don't
forever
interfere
crying.
in our internal
They
affairs.
will never move the
You
court.
don't have
You know,
any
if they
guts.
have a problem with anything that is happening in the country, we have a very robust judiciary. They will never move the court. There is not a single judgment that they can point out where it has been said that the government has done anything against the spirit of the constitution. I think Narendra Modi ji's government is very comfortable dealing with foreign dignitaries of any nation, and we engage with them from a position of strength. That is very clear. There is nothing to hide under the carpet. Why should we be doing that?
There's
if
another
a
way.
dignitary wants to come and engage with members of civil society and they have a contrary viewpoint, that is fine with
Pankaj
us.
is now responding. Gaurav, Pankaj is now responding to, and I'm allowing the intervention. Pankaj.
No, I was just telling Mr. Gaurav Bhatia, why is he not answering your question? Why our government is not, telling Americans that please don't interfere in our internal affairs? I am telling you, please don't call them so-called civil society members a bunch of unacceptable individuals.
For the army,
Mr.
they
Bhatia,
said, there was some
Mr.
interference.
Bhatia,
We procured it from the country that we wanted.
RSS Chief Mohan Bhagwat ji has released the book of Iftikhar Ahmed, Interfaith Foundation founder the other day. And you are saying
the other way.
You are saying that they are unacceptable people.
Give me an example.
What example?
Of interference in our internal matters under Modi ji.
There's another way of looking at it.
Do you have any guts to tell Americans strongly that please don't intervene? You cannot.
Yes, we have.
Because
not just America, every other country.
Your Prime Minister, because our Prime Minister was raising the slogans of Ab Ki Baar Trump Sarkar. He was the first.
Problem. Because India is becoming stronger. And the Tukre gang is becoming bigger. You people come here and to cry and do nothing else.
There's another point I want to make. Ratan Sharda, and if I can just have everyone on for a moment. Mohandas Pai, I've been a bit suspicious about this Pegasus thing anyway. And the other way I look at it, Mr. Pai, is that with Antony Blinken of the Democratic establishment so strongly getting interested in Pegasus, my own suspicions that this Pegasus was a front to put pressure on the Modi government, using amnesty, is actually confirmed, because
which has been booted out of India.
In a way, my question is to Mr. Pai. In other words, Mr. Pai, the cover has been blown. The cover has been blown, Mr. Pai.
Look at the restlessness in the
Mr. Pai,
opposite
Mr. Pai.
We don't know. We don't know whether the CIA was behind it or some intelligence agency was behind it. We know that the Americans are very close to Israel. Pegasus is an Israeli company. We don't know who is behind it, what purposes. It's very clear that there is something behind the scenes. Somebody is playing games. People are playing games all over the world. I don't think we should be worried about Pegasus. I don't think we should be worried about Pegasus because Pegasus is a non-story. I don't think we should be worried about anybody meeting Blinken. Let all of them meet Blinken. It doesn't matter. What does it matter? India cannot be bullied by any country. India cannot be bullied by any country. India is going to set its own policy. India is going to stand tall in the world and lead its own way. And no America, nor Russia, nor China will influence us. Our government will look after our national interests. So I don't think we should bother about all this, Arnab. Now, how should we react to this? We should go to, when we go to America, meet all these people, the fault lines. Our media should highlight what is happening there, so we are better educated and not make it a one-way street. There are so many people who write in Washington Post and New York Times, get $2 or so per word. They're trying to make money. Only way they can make money to abuse India. It is fine, Arnab. It is okay. What does it matter, Arnab? Why should we get worked up about this?
No, then
you should have a media which points out all these things that happen in America for the Indian audience. Please do that.
That Pegasus was purchased or not? Why are you hiding this? Why government doesn't say categorically that no, we never purchased
required to take out the terrorists. Pegasus is required to take out the terrorists. The only question is, was it used?
Whatever is the reason, for whatever reason, Pegasus was purchased or not by the government of India.
What does it matter if it's purchased or not? I wish they purchase. It's good to purchase. It's good to purchase.
I have always believed. I have always believed. No, Mr. Pai, Pankaj, a minute. Mr. Pai, I just want to elaborate. Like you, I am a firm believer in the power of India. Like you, you and I believe we don't need any narrative from the West. You and I are believers that our own media, on the other hand, should go global, and by the grace of God, it will. My point was different, Mr. Pai. My point was that I have always, without sounding conspiratorial, we can't dismiss this foreign hand theory. This farmers' protest put out ads on the Super Bowl in America, where it costs anywhere in millions of dollars to put out an ad on the Super Bowl. That very day, it was very clear to all of us that there is a huge amount of money being invested to build an anti-India narrative. And when Blinken participates in this kind of meddling, it confirms our suspicion.
Absolutely, Arnab. Arnab, the Khalistanis are doing it. They're being funded by Pakistan. It's very clear because Pakistan wants to meddle in Punjab. It's got a long history. There is something called the American Muslim Association, which is funded by many of the other countries, and they're all going against India in the U.S. We know what is happening. They did in the last election. They're peddling human rights. They don't go after Iran. They don't go after Pakistan if people are getting butchered. Because they're all being funded by this country.
You are calling this Sikh brothers a terrorist.
It's all in the public domain.
Indirectly, you are calling our Sikh brothers, our Indian brothers terrorists, sir. You have accepted this, sir. You are calling again the Muslim terrorists. Those Sikh brothers sitting on Singhi border, you are calling them terrorists. It is as simple as that. This is the narrative and this is the perception you have in your mind. Anyone who is against Modi government will become terrorist end of the day. This is what you have, a corrupted mind. This is what this kind of narrative. You should be ashamed of yourself. You shouldn't be calling yourself an Indian. You should be ashamed of yourself, sir. आप चुल्लू भर पानी में जाके डूब जाइए जो लोग सिंगल आपको पाकिस्तानी लगते हैं just because some Sikh families are donating money sitting in Canada. You think it's coming from Khalistan?
Just ranting. He has no point.
He has a written script, that's all.
No, I'm not spoiling the
Can
whole
you not
debate. Why
listen
the
to
hell do
others
you think I'm spoiling the whole debate? It's just that
आप डूबिएगा
speaks the truth.
लातों के
You should have
भूत
the
बातों से
audacity
नहीं मानते
to
आप
accept
उन्हीं
it.
कैटेगरी के
आपको चुल्लू भर
हैं
पानी में
सुनिए
डूब मरना चाहिए
चुल्लू
भाई।
भर पानी में आप 10 बार
अरे
डूबे
आपको
हैं
चुल्लू
तब
भर
भी
पानी में
बदबू
डूब
आती है
मरना
आपके
चाहिए।
पास से
You debate
आपको
to be
पता क्या
careful what I'm telling
है
you.
आप लोग
You
भूपी
debate to
गैंग
be
के
careful.
मेंबर
Let's
धर्मक
come to
रोते
the
रहते हैं
topic.
यहाँ पे आके
You
चिल्लाने का
have
काम
demeaned the
करते हैं
nation.
आर्टिकल
You have
370 को
demeaned the
एब्रोगेट
country.
किया
People
आप
are
रो
coming
रहे
from
थे
outside,
रोहिंग्या
they're
को
talking
भगाओ
about
तो आप
CA.
रो रहे थे
People are coming
सीए
from
पे
outside,
आप
they're
रोते
talking
रहते
about the human
केवल
violation.
मुस्लिम मुस्लिम मुस्लिम
They're
करते
talking
रहते
about Kashmir
अरे
issues.
इंडिया से आपको कोई लेना देना नहीं है शर्म करिए शर्म करिए आप चुल्लू भर पानी में डूबेंगे तो पूरा पानी गंदा हो जाएगा आप लोग ऐसी सोच के लोग हैं आपकी सोच में से बदबू आती है आपसे सिविलाइज डिबेट हो नहीं सकती है आप लोगों की प्रॉब्लम यही है आप लोग चिल्लाने आते हैं और मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूँ ये मोदी जी का भारत है ये वो भारत है अमेरिका क्या कोई भी देश नहीं झुका सकता हम सम्मान से अपनी बात रखेंगे और जो देश हित में होगा वही करेंगे
भारत भारतीय का है।
अरे तो भारत मोदी जी को किसने चुना है भारतीयों ने नहीं चुना है मोदी जी को भारत के नागरिकों ने नहीं चुना तंग बुद्धि के आदमी सोच को लकवा मारा हुआ है आपके सोच के लकवा मारा हुआ है इनके साथ केवल चिल्लाना पड़ेगा ये भारतों के भूत है ये नहीं समझेंगे ऐसे ये सिर्फ चिल्लाने
Viewers, I think Gaurav, I would just make a humble submission to all of you that I think we should fight for the rights. We should launch an official campaign to fight for the rights of Julian Assange. No, we should fight for the rights of Julian Assange. We should ask for justice for Snowden, justice for Julian Assange. That is what we should be doing. That is what we should be doing. We need to hit them back and hit them where it hurts, expose them where it matters. And ladies and gentlemen, still on the move on the other side, the #1 news channel of Bengal, Republic Bangla. Republic Bangla has done a fantastic expose on the porn racket, and I was just told that there have been arrests that have happened right now. Our investigation from Kolkata to Mumbai to Kanpur, the multi-city sexual exploitation racket has been cracked open, but Bollywood and their favorite media, their obsequious media, continue to be silent.
And join me on debate #2 after a short break. And let me see if at that time I manage to make it to the studios.